What's going on, guys? Nick Dark here. This is going to be a full chart breakdown video on AUD CAD. So let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is top-down analysis and work our way all the way down towards the 1 hour and 30-minute, looking for some sort of trade opportunity. So first thing we want to do is establish our support and resistance. Let's go ahead and clean up these MAs, hide them for now. All right, so let's find some significant support and resistance levels to start. Let's see, let's grab this tool, looking for areas where price actions reacted a bunch of times. I like this area already. Let's see. Ooh, hold on, let me make this the monthly, label it. Oops. Okay, monthly. Let's double check it real quick with the candlestick chart, see if it makes sense. Resistance here, crossed, resistance, support, tested, a little bit of an overlap, a little bit of overlap here, resistance, tons of resistance. All right, I like this area. It seems pretty good. Nice whole number, 1.025. Okay, let's find another level. Right in here looks pretty good. I think this is the 98 flat area. Let's see. Double check it again. Support, overlap, resistance, 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 support, overlap throughout all this area pretty much. All right, so let's find the range on this. How many pips is this? Little tight. Little tight. Let's see if there's a more significant area. If not, we'll leave this one. Let me just see for a second. Down here maybe. Yeah, this looks like a better area. Let's call it 3.5. And we'll double check it again. Support, support. A little bit of an overlap there. A little bit of support, resistance, cross, support, support, support. And let's see. This range is a little bit bigger. All right, I like this area a little bit better because this is also going to be our weekly in here. So this is more of a weekly level where it was before. Let's just do a quick, or was it? Oh, can't go back that far. All right, so we'll get there in a second and I'll show you what I was talking about. Make this a monthly. Let's get that price range tool out. Figure out how big this is here. Roughly 900 pips. Okay, cool. Let's go find our next level of support down here. And that makes sense. Let's see if this makes more sense. Yeah, I like this area. So back to the line chart. Tested there, gap, gap, tested here a bunch of times here as well. So yeah, this area makes a lot of sense. We just rounded off to a nice whole number, 0.85. I like this area, looks pretty good. All right, so next thing we want to do, we can actually do one more zone. Do one more zone to the downside. We'll go back to this original range. Take it there, about 900 pips. Just do one to the downside, just because. All right, let's see where we're at. This is pretty much the lowest price action is reached. Let's call it 90, or 75. Let's call it 0.76. Let's call it that. Nice round number. Again, these are zones. Price action is not going to stop to the exact pip. See how it goes past a little bit. These are zones where we can expect some sort of reaction, where we can expect orders to be, where we can expect, significant support or resistance. So just keep that in mind. That's why I always go to the nice round numbers, okay? So let's now split these zones. Looking for our weeklies. Right in here looks like a good zone. 0.98. Call this a weekly. Looks pretty good. So we can just double check with the line chart. Overlap, overlap, resistance, resistance, resistance. A little bit of a gap on each side. Overlap here again. Pretty much throughout this entire zone. So this is a good zone. I like it. All right, let's get the next one. Split this zone here. Let's see how this lines up. I'm gonna call it 0.89 for the weekly. Again, just quick check it. Back to the line chart. A little bit of an overlap there, gap there, overlap, 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 gap there. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty significant. All right, cool. And then one more zone left. Okay, right there, looks pretty good. Right at 0.805 for the weekly. See if this makes sense. A little bit of overlap there. You could already see it on the weekly, on the line chart. I mean, overlap, tested support. A little bit of an overlap on both of these lows here. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Next thing we want to do is establish the most significant zone for current price action rather. So that would be this zone right here. Pretty big zone. Let's see if we can maybe make this smaller on the daily when we drop down, or weekly. But until that, we're looking for patterns as well. I could just see off the bat this is a huge ascending triangle pattern. It's actually pretty broad. Goes back all the way over here. Let's just see that. Okay. Pop, pop. Good. Let's drag this zone all the way over here. Like that. Although I want to get it on the bodies. So I want to see this zone be at the bodies here, and then this lower end also at the bodies. So right there. It's a pretty big zone. This was more or less a descending triangle, getting lots of lower highs here, right? Lower high, pushing down, pushing price action down outside of this pattern. Came back up, is retesting right now. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's go ahead to the weekly, see if we can identify anything else as far as patterns go. All right. Let's expand this, zoom in a little bit. What can we identify here? All right, so we're currently in this monthly zone. This is our prior lower high. This was a huge transition that took place right here. Pretty much, what is it? 0.65. See if that makes sense. Yep, huge level right here. It broke through it. This is more or less structure, so let's go ahead and make this level structure. Okay, so it broke through, came back as resistance, and then dropped. And then this was the new fib level here off the conviction candle. Let's just get an idea. This is obviously news-related spike, but let's just see where we're at. Around the 88.6 right now, also in this monthly. So either way, it's a confluence area. So yeah, this is really at a key area right now. So we either want to see it continue higher, get a higher low, or some sort of rejection here. But also we want to do this. I want to line this off too. So this was technically a lower high. This is where price action kind of blew through that level, right at here. 915, 915. Okay, clear area, clear lower high. Price action came right back through it and actually tested and then continued higher. All right, so we're still primarily bearish, as we can see. However, this 4-hour time frame, I'm sure everything's daily time frame is very, very bullish. So let's drop down time frames again, see where we're at. Very, very bullish on this time frame. Again, here's that lower high where we got past. This was a little bit of a range here, and then we continued past it to the upside. So let's see where we're at now. I do want to fib this because this is a nice extension, nice 4-hour trend, but it doesn't look like it's formed any structure. So let's see where we're at. I kind of want to fib it from here. This is a conviction. Didn't hit structure. Didn't close its structure anyway. Here, didn't hit. Now we're all the way up here. So this could come all the way back down to 38.2 for the short term. Could fall back down. Let's see where we're at. It could fall back down and then continue higher. That's what you'd kind of want to see to form structure. Let's put these MAs back on actually. Okay, that's what you would want to see. Form structure here, and then a bounce from this area. But again, this is super, super bullish. So the likelihood of this just continuing with momentum is pretty high. We haven't had any MA cross really. So let's say we just get momentum up until this weekly. Let's say price action just continues higher, which is looking very, very likely right now. This is kind of just pushing higher and higher. These MAs are holding price action very well. Let's see where we're at now. All right, looking to get up to this weekly handle with this much momentum. I'm trying to think of an entry here. We need to see some sort of pullback. We need to see some sort of structure form to get in on a pullback here. Let's drop down to the 4-hour. See what's going on. I kind of want to dice this up as far as establishing. So this was a little box pattern here. Price action is continuing higher. Let's just label some channels here. A little bit of a channel here. Okay, good momentum. Okay, so let's say this is let's refib for a second. Hold on a second. Let's just restart. Let's take a step back. I want to refib this on the daily time frame here. Okay, so from here to here, didn't hit anything. From here to here, didn't hit anything. Here to here, didn't hit anything. Neither here. So yeah, this is pretty overextended. So a nice confluence area. Okay, so this needs to form structure before continuing. So there's two scenarios that we're going to play on this. Okay, we're obviously looking long. We're looking for long opportunities in here. We need to get below this level right here to turn bearish. I'll cover that in a second. But anyway, two potential scenarios: either price action just continues pushing this higher, and we don't really get an entry based on this fib level, which would be really nice to see because it is structure. So it could just continue higher, come right back up to this weekly, and then maybe we'll see rejection. So this is trade path one, where momentum just pushes price action higher. Or we get some sort of pullback to 38.2, like we said, like this, and then a continuation back up towards this monthly, and then potentially even higher towards the negative 27 fib level. So this is a great area right here, because the 38.2 is here, prior structures here, the 200 EMA is there as well, and then this would be a nice area for a higher low. It would still be very much in a bullish trend, just in this case with structure, which is what we always want to see. So this is essentially what the trade would look like, targeting towards the monthly. At the very least, it's looking like 200 pips there. So you want to get, this would actually be a pretty tight stop considering how much this moves. So it should be about 100 pips to get 200 for the first target. Obviously we want to get back up to the 0%, 300, and then eventually up to this area between the weekly and the negative 27. So right here, right, this is what our ultimate, final TP would be up here in this area. So this would be a really good trade, but I want one more level of protection. I want to drop it a little more, maybe even outside this weekly, about 250 pip stop. So this is a pretty big, this would be a high pip trade. Again, it would be a lot of movement in here. But, we're basing this off of structure. We want to see structure, and we haven't seen structure form at all throughout this entire trend here. So this has just been a steady, bullish trend. It's more like a 4-hour trend, but it's been happening for quite a while. So, we really want to see this daily structure level hit. But, again, it's going to take a lot. This would take probably a few weeks to play out considering this is a daily time frame. But for right now, the price action just looks super, super bullish, and nothing's really saying, hey, there's bearish momentum here. So, if you're looking for a near-term entry on this, it would have to be solely on price action. So, like, here's an example of that exactly. So we'll keep that in mind, that long opportunity. We want to see structure hit. So it has the potential to fall. But a good price action entry would have been probably here. Let me just highlight this in the form of a zone. Because look at all... Let's make this yellow. So just look at how much resistance was here. How much rejection happened every time price action came into the zone. Like literally countless times. It looks like a dozen times in this area at least. So it was finally inching higher. It finally broke. We got a little double bottom here. Price action decided to push up. We got some higher lows. One last test of resistance, and then it finally broke. It broke it, came back as support, and then it confirmed support by a nice bullish variation here, 1-2, closure above the MAs. So that would have been a good entry. You honestly could have entered on that. This right here, price action entry. Stop loss would have been about 50 pips. And then again, you want to just target towards the top of this range, which could be a massive amount of pips up to this weekly, 355 and so on. But like this could have been a really nice trade just based on price action alone. It's looking like a 7-0 risk reward. If you want to be even safer, you could drop it a little bit lower, do 100 pips, make it a 3.5, and then you're even more protected because you have support here, you have the MAs, you have all these higher lows, these lower time frame structure levels, right? And then this 4-hour higher low here. So that could have been a good entry. Of course, the better entry is always after structure formation. And again, that's back down in this area. So let's jump up to the daily again and see if this makes sense. So these are our 2 trade opportunities, guys. 2 trade opportunities right here. Would have been a decent buy because it's a daily bullish engulfing. So again, that kind of just gives more confidence into this little break and retest continuation to the upside. And we're just looking to fill this range. We're literally just trying to get up towards this weekly level, which is the next significant resistance on this time frame. Okay, let's just jump to the weekly. I'm going to get one more perspective. Are there any zones that could potentially stop us? So price action could come all the way up to here even. So it could pull back all the way to here. So either way, we're aware of it. That would probably be a suggested TP level as well. So we're just trying to become aware of all the significant resistance. This being one right here. So even if we chose this as our absolute max take profit, our final TP, we would still be at a 2.15 risk reward, which is good enough, if you entered in this area. So this would be a pretty good trade as well. But ultimately, we want to get up to this weekly. So let's go back to that weekly time frame for a second. Get one more look. Looking good. Definitely a transition of this monthly. All right, we're getting above this 200 EMA now. Definitely super, super bullish. But whatever happens, we're ready for it. Looking for some more confirmations in this area to, kind of continue into filling this range, or, that structure, that pullback for structure. Okay, so let's just cover a bearish scenario. What needs to happen to go short on this? All right, we need to start seeing some lower highs, ultimately. So let's clear this up. Clear that up, clear this up. This is actually good right here. I'm going to leave this zone for now, and I'll explain why in a second. So we're going to go to the 4 hour, because it's going to be like a domino effect. If the bears start taking over, we're going to see a domino effect in the sense of transitions. So we're going to see a 4 hour transition before a daily transition. Okay, so this is what essentially we're looking for. We're going to see a break below, outside of this little ascending channel here. We want to get our first lower high. And that would then confirm this level as key resistance, right? We get in a lower high, looking to target lower, back down towards major support and so on. So this is a 4 hour transition, right? Break below, retest, 4 hour lower high, right? Then we can target lower. I'm going to target this zone for now. But let's go back to the daily. And I want to show you what a daily transition would look like. So that's the 4 hour, right? 4 hour zone, break, retest, 4 hour lower high. So then we want to come back down below this monthly here, break these higher lows, which is more or less daily higher lows right here. So we can just take this as well, just zone this off, right? So we want to see that exact same thing, that break and retest, happen here on this daily time frame. So of this daily zone here, so which is much more significant, which really, really plays into the fact of a reversal, that this is going to continue back down with the overall bearish trend. Because remember, on the monthly and weekly, we're very, very bearish. So we could see something like this, which would be a nice transition. It would also mean that we're coming back to form structure, but again, based on how much momentum is here, we could either stop at the 38.2 or blow right past it and head right towards the weekly. So again, that's when you'll have to really apply some sort of price action analysis. When we're seeing this lower high, how much volume was there? Is it low volume? Is there more consolidation than anything else? Is there not really a clear direction of to where the market's going, because it keeps kind of showing indecision candles? That may just represent a lack of sellers, and that this was truly just a pullback to the 38.2. But again, we'll have to reanalyze once we start seeing these transitions. But yeah, so ultimately, it's like a domino effect. Like I said, looking for that 4 hour transition into the daily transition into a much larger move. So we could see something like that. Let's go to the weekly for this scenario. Save that. Zoom in a little bit. So again, right. This is what would need to make sense here. So if this was a confirmed lower high and we saw that massive rejection, we would obviously get that 4 hour transition, potentially enter on that. And then we would if this, again, was the confirmed lower high, we would see that daily transition getting in at a really, really nice daily lower high, and then targeting much lower, down towards significant support. So with the weekly being the first one, right where the 61.8 is. So this could be a really good trade as well. Whatever happens, guys, we're ready for it. We're just going to follow what the market's telling us, follow that price action, and make the best trade possible. All right, but yeah, this is super bearish on this weekly. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out in this zone. Definitely looking more bullish than anything else, just because of how strong this damn trend is. Let's go to let me zoom out a little more. Yeah, definitely more bullish than anything else, just because of look, just look how bullish this is. A little bit consolidation, and then continuation higher. So we'll see. We will see. All right, so that has been a full chart breakdown on AUD CAD.